The Zephyrian High Command had made many calculations before seizing Dr. Elena Vasquez. They had analyzed human diplomatic patterns, studied their economic dependencies, and mapped their military capabilities. What they hadn't accounted for was the peculiar human concept of proportional response. Commander Zeltar watched the holographic displays with growing unease as another Zephyrian outpost went dark. The humans had been systematically dismantling their border infrastructure for 72 standard hours, ever since the hostage transmission had been broadcast across the galaxy. "Sir," his aide chittered nervously, "the humans have just vaporized the mining station at Kepler 442. That's the 15th facility this cycle." Zeltar's four eyes narrowed as he studied the tactical readout. The human fleet movements were surgical, precise, and absolutely ruthless. Each target had been a Zephyrian military or economic asset near human space. No civilian casualties, but the message was crystal clear. "Have they responded to our negotiations?" he asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. "Negative, sir. They've ignored all diplomatic channels. Admiral Chen's last transmission was..." The aide paused, consulting his datapad, and I quote, "We don't negotiate with kidnappers. Return our scientist unharmed or we'll dismantle your entire border presence piece by piece." The irony wasn't lost on Zeltar. They had taken Dr. Vasquez because of her groundbreaking work on quantum tunneling drives, technology that could revolutionize space travel and give the Zephyrian Empire a decisive advantage over their rivals. The plan had been simple: leverage her knowledge, force humanity to share the technology and establish Zephyrian dominance in this sector. Instead, they were watching their carefully constructed border defenses crumble under a human assault that seemed to defy every tactical doctrine in the galaxy. "Sir, incoming priority transmission from Admiral Chen," the communications officer announced. "Put her through." Admiral Sarah Chen appeared on the main screen, her expression carved from ice and determination. Behind her, Zeltar could see the bridge of a human dreadnought, its crew working with the quiet efficiency that had made human military forces legendary. "Commander Zeltar," Chen began without preamble, "I trust you've been watching the news. 16 of your installations have been reduced to expanding clouds of debris. Dr. Vasquez has been in your custody for 74 hours. I thought it was time we had a conversation." Zeltar straightened, attempting to project authority. "Admiral Chen, your aggressive actions are in clear violation of the Galactic Accords. We are prepared to discuss terms for..." "No." The word cut through space like a blade. "You seem to misunderstand the situation. This isn't a negotiation. This is a countdown. Every hour Dr. Vasquez remains in your custody, another piece of your infrastructure disappears. We're not here to bargain. We're here to retrieve our people. You cannot possibly justify this level of destruction over a single individual," Zeltar protested. Chen's smile was sharp enough to cut steel. "Commander, you've clearly never studied human psychology. We're a species that sailed across empty oceans in wooden boats to explore unknown continents. We're the people who strapped themselves to controlled explosions just to touch our moon. When you take one of ours, you don't get a measured diplomatic response. You get us." The transmission cut to tactical displays showing the human fleet's positions. Zeltar felt his circulatory system slow as he realized the scope of what he was seeing. 3 full battle groups positioned at strategic points around Zephyrian space. Not an invasion force, a dismantling crew. "Sir," his aide whispered, "intelligence reports that the humans have mobilized their entire 7th Fleet. They're treating this as a full military operation." Zeltar stared at the displays. The humans weren't posturing or bluffing. They were methodically destroying everything the Zephyrian Empire had built in this sector, and they showed no signs of stopping. Each strike was perfectly calculated, devastating enough to cripple infrastructure, precise enough to avoid civilian casualties, and relentless enough to make their point absolutely clear. "Get me Dr. Vasquez," he ordered quietly. When the human scientist was brought to the bridge, Zeltar was struck by her composure. Despite 3 days in captivity, Elena Vasquez stood straight, her dark eyes alert and unafraid. "Dr. Vasquez," Zeltar began. Your people are passionate about your rescue. She raised an eyebrow. Did you think they wouldn't be? Commander, you made a fundamental error in understanding humanity. We don't just value our scientists. We consider an attack on one of us an attack on all of us. You didn't kidnap a researcher. You declared war on human civilization. But the destruction, the resources they're expending, are a fraction of what we'll spend if you don't return me immediately, Elena finished. Commander, I've spent my career studying the fundamental forces of the universe. But the most powerful force I know isn't gravity or electromagnetism. It's human determination when someone threatens our family. Zeltar looked at the tactical displays one more time. Another outpost had just gone dark. The humans weren't slowing down. If anything, their attacks were becoming more frequent, more coordinated. Release her, he ordered. Within 6 hours, Dr. Elena Vasquez was back aboard the human flagship, and the systematic destruction of Zephyrian border infrastructure ceased as suddenly as it had begun. But the message had been sent and received across the galaxy. The Terran Federation didn't negotiate with kidnappers. They simply came for their people, and heaven help anyone who stood in their way. In the months that followed, as the Zephyrian Empire rebuilt their shattered border defenses, xenobiologists and military strategists across the galaxy would study the incident. They would analyze human response patterns, their apparent disregard for proportional force, and their willingness to expend enormous resources for individual lives. Most concluded that humans were dangerously unpredictable. A few wise species reached a different conclusion. Humans were exactly as predictable as they claimed to be. Touch their people, and they would come for you with everything they had. The galaxy learned to leave human scientists alone.